All right, to wrap up today's show for episode 2, Hello Darkness, my old friend, we've got a Would You Rather because of what's been going on this week. So, Justin, please set it up.
Yeah, so this week we have two players, young players, that just got some pretty big contracts on their books. So we have Ottawa Senators Brady Tkachuk and our own boy, Nick Suzuki for the Habs. So I'll just list off some of the info about the players. So this week, Brady Tkachuk signed his contract 7 times $8.2 million a year. And Nick Suzuki earlier, right before the season started, signed his contract at 8 times $7.875. As for their career stats, I'll just give you quickly. Nick Suzuki has 82 points in 130 NHL games, whereas Brady Tkachuk has 125 points in 198 games. So I hope you're good at math, but yeah, those are the comparisons. As for their ages, I'll just say them quickly. Tkachuk is 22. Nick Suzuki is also 22, so same age. And Nick Suzuki is mostly a center. Brady Tkachuk has gone center and wing a bit, but I'd say he's more of a winger. So to start off this game, we're doing something a bit different this time around. I'm going to ask you guys to raise your hand on the count of 3, and the first person to raise your hand gets to choose who they will be debating for in this Would You Rather. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay, it's Mackie. That was not close in the slightest. Terrible
Suzuki.
speed and accuracy by Alex there.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
All right,
I
so
have to
Mackie.
go with my boy Nick Suzuki, baby. Nick Suzuki,
All
okay?
right, go ahead.
This is a Habs podcast, and if I was going to take Brady Tkachuk, you can go to the next video if you're a Habs fan, okay? But Nick Suzuki, at the tender age of, you said 22, has proven in the hardest position in the NHL, okay? Center ice, where you got to play a 200-foot game to be effective, that he is a clutch player. He showed it in the playoffs. And a guy that just knows how to turn it on. We saw it in the OHL when he turned it on in the playoffs then. And in his second year of being a true NHLer, he showed up. And we saw it in the bubble a little bit, but really last season he turned into the number 1 seed that he was supposed to be for our team to be effective. He showed chemistry with Cole Caulfield, his defensive play. Again, we discussed a little bit about it at the top of the show, but he may not be the perennial 100-point guy, but in terms of effectiveness at both ends of the ice, at the center position, it's Nick Suzuki every single day of the week, and his contract is lower than Brady Tkachuk's. So no argument. No argument. I'm sorry, Sens fans. No argument.
Alex, as our token Sens fan here.
So I have to pick Brady Tkachuk. I have to give you
Yes,
the other side of the argument.
exactly.
Okay. Obviously, this is a tough one, but I do want to start off talking about the contract. The Ottawa Senators kind of were handcuffed here. They couldn't let this guy go. They had to pay him. They had to show that they can keep these big, well, I won't say big, but bigger names in Ottawa and kind of show that they actually want to build a future with this team. Now, my argument for Tkachuk is that while he might not be a center, might not play that all important position, he's a very good complementary piece for a team to have, and he's a high end talent when it comes to being a complementary piece. This is a guy who can set the tone for the rest of the team. Bigger, that energy, emotional guy that every team needs, especially in the playoffs if they want to be a competitive team. And he might not be the most skillful, but he's a high volume shooter. He's always in front of the net getting chances. He'll score those gritty goals you need in the playoffs. And he brings a hell of a lot of energy. I know Suzuki, he's had some good celebrations in the playoffs with the emotion there, and he did step his game up in the playoffs. But I feel like Tkachuk is a guy who can bring a crowd to life in a close game, can kind of come up big in close games and just kind of lift everyone up to another level. And that'd be my reasoning for picking Kachuk. I think every team needs a guy like that, and he's a top level guy like that.
I mean, great answers, both of you. I think you made good points for both players. I'm leaning more towards Nick Suzuki, obviously, because I'm a Habs fan and I love my little Nicky boy. But yeah, Brady Tkachuk is also a great player. I think they're both going to be great players in this league. Alex made some good points about him being like the energetic kind of player that you can rally your crowd around. We've seen that with when he plays against the Habs. Sometimes it just seems like out of nowhere he could just have a shift where he's dominant physically and he can make a little play and it just brings some momentum to the team. So yeah, they're definitely different types of players. I'd lean more towards Nick Suzuki, but it's up to the Sens fans to decide, I guess.
No, but you know what? Sens fans they're gonna come in and maybe roast us, and that's totally fine. Like one thing that I will say that brings value, and it's a little bit kind of like the Brendan Gallagher that we have on the Montreal Canadiens, is that emotional agitator factor that Nick Suzuki. He's not that guy, and we don't want him to necessarily be that guy, but that does have great value. So if I were to add on and extend an olive branch to the Brady Tkachuk case, it's that this guy's probably going to be the captain of the Sens. He's going to be an emotional leader. So there's those intangibles. I'm not saying that Nick Suzuki doesn't have those elements, but I would give the edge maybe to the competitiveness, the emotional agitation that you can get from a Brady Tkachuk. So there is that element, but at the end of the day, guys, come on. I mean, come on. All right, it's Nick Suzuki. It's Nick Suzuki.
There's one thing I'll say, and I might get shit on by Habs fans. It's that sometimes you'll see Nick Suzuki looking. Maybe it's just because he's so smart that I can't see it, but he's looking like he's lazy. Whereas I feel like Brady Tkachuk, he's always going 100%, skating as fast as he can into the boards if he has to. So yeah, that's something that's the difference between the two players. But I think Nick Suzuki obviously has a higher IQ and maybe can be more efficient with his movement. So that's my really Nick Suzuki fan club answer there.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing is that Brady Tkachuk can chuck him pretty well. So that's the only other addition that I'll add to that. But you guys can let us know for this segment of Would You Rather. Thank you very much, Justin. We'll be right back for wrapping up today's show. All right, here we go.